Night Owl Live with the host that's the most, Gene Steinberg. Don't even think about touching that dial.
So, Tim Goggin, been a while since we talked to you folks at PocketMac. For those who are tuning in late, which is probably myself, I'm always tuning in late. For those who are tuning in late, would you explain to everybody exactly what your company is all about, what kind of products you have?
Absolutely. Well, thank you for having me, first of all. And our products basically entail a variety of Mac syncing options. So if you want to sync your BlackBerry to your Mac, if you want to sync your Pocket PC or Windows Mobile smartphone to your Mac, we have solutions for that, and we keep coming out with new solutions for various niches that we find and that our customers basically alert us to and tell us that they want a solution.
Now, the question, of course, I always ask is, a lot of the people who use these products are Mac users. Why do they not have native solutions?
You mean, why hasn't Apple provided solutions?
I'm thinking in terms of the companies themselves. Why are they not providing solutions for Mac users rather than having to go and buy your own software, as they say?
Sure. No, it's a valid question. In terms of BlackBerry, they have actually, the RIM folks have actually licensed it from us. So in that regard, they are actually providing it free to the Mac user. The other OEMs, that one I'm not so sure about. I know that there are a lot of OEMs who, even with the growing Mac market, and obviously this is not the case with RIM, but there are a lot of other OEMs who still look at it as sort of a niche market and one that, for whatever reason, they feel that it's not one that they should devote maximum amount of time to, if that makes sense.
Okay, so basically if I get a BlackBerry, the software I get to sync to my Mac is your software.
That's correct. And I don't believe that it comes in the box right now, but I know because that takes a long time. But they've licensed it from us now for, I believe, over 2 years. I don't have the exact date, but it is available directly from their website, and that's the way it's been for probably almost 2 years now, I would say, for that they've actually had to download it. Basically, the minute they licensed it, the product was free to end users, and so yeah, that's exactly how it works.
Okay, so therefore, if I buy a BlackBerry, I just go to their website and get the product.
Correct. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so how do you integrate with the Mac from the BlackBerry?
Well, we had to create our own system from the ground up, and it was very complex. And I am not a technical person, so I will give you the broad strokes. But basically, with RIM's help, we were able to sort of come up with the interface that would connect the BlackBerry to the Macintosh, and then create the syncing tool on top of that. And it is one of our more successful and well-known products.
The other products, in terms of, obviously you're working with Research in Motion, so it's not difficult to figure out the ways to connect to your product. But now that you're providing products for other smartphones, how do you do it?
Well, basically, we have really good developers here, and they are able to basically figure out how to best create that interface for each device. And that's exactly how we do it. So it can take anywhere from 1 or 2 months or to an entire year to sort of build all the communications, and especially on some of the more complex devices. You know, for the Pocket PC and smartphone applications, we've had that product out in one form or another since the founding of our company, which is 2001. So that was sort of where we figured out how to do how to build these solutions. And so right now we're sort of building in whatever changes Microsoft makes to each of those devices. But I guess what I'm trying to say is when a new device comes out that we want to support, it is something that is pretty complex to figure out, but luckily with our experience we can do it.
Well, in case of a Pocket PC, any Windows mobile device, does Microsoft get involved in helping you?
We do. Actually, there have been a lot of people, especially, I do have to sort of say publicly, the Microsoft Mac division is especially useful, very helpful. And that basically they've been very helpful. We have gotten some help from the Windows Mobile division within Microsoft, but it's one of these things that I think they're more helpful. They're more helpful right now than when we first started, where they didn't necessarily see a market. So it's definitely they've been very helpful. I think as we've sort of shown more of a market, I think that it's definitely grown, if that makes sense.
So let's just look over it again. What about other particular formats or other types of phones? You know, like, for example, the stuff that Nokia sells. Now, they have their own proprietary operating system for that, right?
Yes, I believe that's correct, yeah.
So are you supporting them?
We do not. We do not support it directly. Our decision to support or not support a device is almost based entirely on what our customers say. And if we get a sort of a regular batch of emails from people saying, hey, you know, I think there's a market here, I would love to sync this, that we'll definitely start working on it and sort of checking it out and seeing, okay, what's the market here, and going from there. But we do not support the Nokia devices for mostly because I know that Apple in iSync supports several Nokia devices. How many, I'm not sure exactly, but they do support quite a few, and so it's one of those things that deciding which Nokia devices to support is always, if Apple is doing X and Y, does it really make sense for me to do just Z? Do you know what I mean?
I understand. The question is also, you have to kind of see what is Apple going to produce, because if Apple produces it, then there's less of an incentive for you to bother.
Exactly.
Well, how far is Apple going? Does the iPhone change that considerably?
You know, I think that for people who weren't that passionate about their current mobile solution, or people who are just really in love with the iPod, and I certainly count myself among them, the iPhone was a giant leap forward. That being said, I know that there are also a lot of people like myself who, even though I love the iPod and I do have an iPhone, I still use my BlackBerry. It does what I need, and it just works for me. So I think it's one of these things that I think that just now that Mac users have a wider variety of choice thanks to the iPhone and sync solutions like ours, and just in general, they have more options for their Mac than they did before. And so I think that you will find that it's not a sort of a homogeneous group in terms of all Mac users have iPhones. Probably certainly more of them do than the PC world, but even there you have a great number of PC users who have an iPhone. So in answering your question, I think that, yes, I think that if somebody was really, really looking forward to the iPhone and it really solved what they need, then I think that they would definitely switch from whatever device they were using, whether it was Nokia or Sony Ericsson or what have you. But if people are really happy, and it's one of these things that I know from talking to our customers, and I know for myself, and I'm sure you've experienced this, Gene, as well, that when you have a mobile device, whether you like it or not is almost, it's a very personal thing. It's like what movies you like, what music you like.
Of course, it depends on what you like.
You're listening to the Tech Night Owl Live with Gene Steinberg. You never know what to expect.
On the Tech Night Owl Live, we have Tim Goggin from PocketMac. That's PocketMac.net, and they provide, I guess you call them connectivity.
Yes.
Software that works between your Mac and various devices and programs. And it's not just smartphones, right?
No, that's correct.
Right. For example, you already have a product called Go Between. And what is that all about?
We have 4 different products out under that heading. The first one is PocketMac Go Between for Entourage. We have PocketMac Go Between for Entourage 2004 and PocketMac Go Between for Entourage 2008. We have PocketMac Go Between for Meeting Maker, PocketMac Go Between for Lotus Notes. And what these do are these are intermediaries, and they are software that basically enable you to sync Meeting Maker, Entourage 2004, 2008 data, or Lotus Notes from the source database, which is either Entourage, Lotus Notes, or Meeting Maker, to iCal and Address Book. Thereby, when you run iSync and you sync your device, whether it be a Nokia, an iPhone, Sony Ericsson, or one of the I think it's almost 200 devices that Apple supports natively, that basically it enables you to sync your data back and forth between the two of them using that conduit as its model.
So this allows you to use those programs with Entourage.
Correct. Entourage, Lotus Notes, Meeting Maker, all of those. Basically, you have 4 separate products, and they all